Hi, everybody. Sorry we're a bit late. We've had some tech issues, so I apologize for being late. 3 minutes, 3 minutes. It's so wonderful to have all of you here. I'm so excited about what we are co-creating together. We have hundreds of people who have joined from different parts of the world to join the Sacred Blueprint for our New Earth interview series and hear from our amazing 8 Earth energy experts who are involved in the fields of architecture, interior design, house healing, feng shui, geomancy, building biology, natural building, and so much more. My name is Aisha Rose Melodie Hassan, and I am your host for this series. I am an architect, alchemical healer, and the creator of the Sacred Blueprint, a cutting-edge vessel of courses and programs for property owners and designers to help them birth their dream sanctuaries through a new modality that bridges spirit with architecture. This series is a response to a call I've been hearing on very high volume from Gaia and the nature spirits. They gave me a huge kick in the butt to quit conventional architecture to revolutionize a new way to relate to the land, a new way to design. So this series is about exploring what's possible when we work with nature's energies to design and build the sanctuaries of our future. Whether these sanctuaries are your homes, your gardens, your communities, or visions you may have for the city, the question is, how can we partner with the spirit of the land, with nature, in a practical and conscious way? And what's the results? Like, what's the benefit? How can it benefit our health, our wealth, and our joy? All of our amazing guest speakers with their knowledge and expertise in earth energies are answering and will answer this question. Now, before I introduce the next guest, I'd like to thank Geometric Models for aligning with the Sacred Blueprint and sponsoring this event again. It's such an honor to be collaborating with this phenomenal research group who's dedicated to investigating Mother Nature's sacred geometries. If you're interested in sacred geometry, modeling, and design, then please don't forget to check out their website at www.geometricmodels.com for educational tools. We will be opening up the bonus Q&A session at about 10 to maybe a little bit later, since we started a few minutes later. At the end of our talk, we ask that you hold your questions until the end. The Q&A button is on the bottom right-hand corner of the Zoom bar. All you need to do is click on it and you can send your questions to our guest. The recordings are up for 48 hours on the site which you have received access to. Your login information has been sent as a separate email. Make sure you check your spam and promotions folders, especially people who are using Hotmail and Gmail. Sometimes it gets directed to spam and promotions, and we can't do anything about that on our end, unfortunately. So make sure you check all the folders. Also, share what your aha moments, your takeaways, what's inspired you about this series, and you can respond to any of the emails you receive from us. We want to know, we want to hear how this influenced you, this series. So I think that's that. I'm so excited to introduce our next guest. She is an integrative architect who is integrating land harmonization, feng shui, building biology, natural materials into the way she works. And she's going to tell us why she left the conventional practice to start her business, Energy and Space. We're also going to hear some success stories with her clients and how she works, her unique way of working. I'm so delighted to welcome Valentina Cereda. So excited that she's
Hello.
here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Very happy to be here.
So wonderful. And are you still based in Dubai? You're working in Dubai?
Yes, I just got back 2 weeks ago, I think. I
Okay.
was away for the summer, so I usually work remotely in the summer, and I also do holiday at the same time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you work in Milan as well, and maybe some other.
Yeah. I had a few projects in Milano, but in the summer anyway, I just pass by and then I stay in the mountains or the seaside. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
I think we just finished one house in Milano. Yeah, recently.
Oh, beautiful. I just love hearing about your movements around the globe. So I love bringing the world together. So it's nice to hear that you're working in different locations at different times of the year. It's nice. Yeah. So Valentina, for the audience members who don't know you, can you share what's your story? You're an architect. You worked on various scales of projects with various firms for quite a while. You're a trained architect. And then at some point you decided to leave conventional practice to start your new business. Can you share about the story, your background?
Yes. So I started, I graduated now so many years ago, and then I had a few years working for architectural firms, as you mentioned. So I think it was about 10 years, and maybe a bit more, but anyway. And during this time, at the beginning was very exciting because you learn, and I had the chance to work for very nice clients, nice projects. And after a while, there were a few different things happen at the same time. The workload was too much. And that was in any firm I was going. So it wasn't about the company. It was just a general attitude towards the work. It was too much. So I was really stressed and drained physically and mentally. And then at the same time, just some science started coming up. I started realizing that I was actually, designing and helping my clients to, create these spaces for their company or their home. And when the space is finished and you go on the site, which is a built site, and you open the doors, it looks beautiful. And then you smell this toxic from paints and from the materials and the glues. It's like when you buy a new car, that smell of a new car, it's actual like pure toxins, and I think the reason why we love them, because many people love the smell of new cars, it's because we associate the emotion of being so happy because we just bought a new car. It's such a nice, thing. And we associate it with the smell of chemicals. So it's a memory attached to an
we kind of gotten used to it as well. So interesting. Such an observation.
Because I thought, why do we like these chemical smells anyway? And it's the same, I think, for a space. Like when you paint your house, or you just get it done, you did renovation works, unless you use natural materials, which is very rare, unfortunately, you will have these strong smells, and that's very toxic. So I started feeling like, I don't know, this is strange. This doesn't smell good. Like, why? And then one thing led to the other one, and other projects, and everything came together. And I said, that's it. I don't want to be an architect in this way.
Right.
I don't want to make smelly spaces. I mean, they look beautiful, but they don't smell good.
They don't smell good.
It just didn't resonate with me. and I don't want to work, 50 hours a day. And I want to do things in the way I feel they're good for me. So that's when I left 5 years ago, or maybe, yeah, 5 years ago. And I opened my practice, Energy and Space. And that's where I started looking for ways to do things differently. Of course, my research started even before that, before 5 years ago, but when it came together. And then since then, it grew into, different disciplines and different learning experiences, different projects, different clients. So it's a continuous learning, like everything. And that's when I kind of like found a way, like I always associate our bodies to the spaces we live in.
Yeah.
Because I think there is a strong connection.
Absolutely.
Our home specifically, it's our third skin. So it's very important. And that's when I decided to name this type of architecture and design that I practice as integrative, because it kind of resonates with what is the correspondent practice of integrative medicine or functional medicine, which focuses on finding the root cause of why you're getting these symptoms, why you're not feeling well. And it also integrates different disciplines from medical, so science-based, contemporary science-based disciplines, and with more like holistic, spiritual, or how you want to call them, like ancient sciences. And I like that because as much as I love and I believe in everything that we feel and we sense outside of our five senses, I also do believe that we live in the now, and the present on Earth is a lot of pollution, toxins, chemicals that are visible, non-visible, that we have to deal with. So I do believe that we need that combination of ancient sciences and contemporary. And that's how I decided to name it as integrative design, integrative architecture, because I want to keep it as a very strong contemporary science-based discipline, but combined with something that goes beyond what we see and what we touch, and what we feel with our five senses. So yeah, I think that's summarizes
absolutely. And when and integrative is just, it's so beautiful too, because as you speak, it really then integrates the human being with the environment, right? There's an integration with the body and the building, that the building is our, other layers of our aura, or other layers of our skin, and that we relate to it. It affects us. And it can make us ill if it's not aligned, right, with our true nature. That's what I see the jewels of your work, really. And then to bring it, it's like Valentina's like the doctor. It's like the architect doctor, right, working with the energetics on that scientific level, which is beautiful. Can you share a bit about this process, the integrative design process, some examples, and how you lead your clients through this process? What are you investigating with them? What do you look at when you first start a home project, for example?
So well, the just one thing I wanted to mention is that, so what I do different things in my practice. So besides what is the integrative design and architecture, so for like home renovations or create new spaces, I also do assessments of existing environments.
Fantastic.
When people get maybe they get ill when they enter, like they start moving into a house or a new office, something is off and they cannot figure out what is the cause. Sometimes the issue of our illnesses or not being well sometimes the trigger can be an environmental factor. So it can be a toxin that is inside the house. It can be something chemical that was applied on the wardrobes before you move in, some chemicals to clean something that was dirty. What often happens, people clean a mold with chemical products, and that makes it worse.
Right, it multiplies or something, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things, or maybe it's a home that it's exposed to very high electromagnetic fields, and people don't know because you don't see them. So they're invisible, like all these toxins. So I do also this type of work, which is also very nice, because that's where also I can also help a lot of people in getting better.
Absolutely. They don't need to have a new house design or yeah,
exactly. So these are the main things, but anyway, and when it comes to for example, a home renovation project, the process is well, the first step is definitely the brief with the client, understanding. I usually have a very long questionnaire.
right.
It's about 100 questions.
Oh my God, they have to do a lot of homework, huh?
Yeah, well, I actually like do it with them, because it's I think everyone nowadays is very busy in their mind and in their life.
So true.
Physically.
It's so true. Yeah.
And I don't want to start the project giving like such a big task.
Right. They'll get overwhelmed and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
So I usually sit with them for 2-3 hours and just go through, because it's very important to get to know the people you work with. It's important as an architect to be able to listen, like truly listen to what they want. And sometimes, unless you ask, they don't even know what they want unless you ask all these questions. And also, like, just another example, why so many questions? Because there is, well, in Dubai, there are many cultures. So my clients, like one project that I'm working on now, which is a home here. Maybe we can show these photos later when we get.
We could do it now if you want, as you're speaking. Do you want to do it later?
Maybe after, when I explain.
Okay.
We'll pull them up. But basically, this family is so the mother is Finnish, the father is Iranian, but also a quarter French. The kids are born, one in, I think, in Paris, one in Dubai, and they were raised partially in Iran. And anyway, it's a very, they've lived in very different countries, different cultures. So even to understand where they come from and how they were raised, what type of environment they were exposed to, what type of flavors, it's very important, because we all perceive colors, for example, or odors and flavors in a different way. Some things that are nice and are good for you, some for other people are not. Some cultures associate white with funerals, and others is black as funerals. I mean, there's so many shades of, how people perceive things. Never take it for granted. So I ask the questions. That's to really understand. And at the beginning, clients are very surprised by the amount of questions.
Yeah.
But then as we go through the process, they understand why. Like, oh, that's why you asked me that. That's why. So at the end, they always understand it made sense to spend all the time.
Links between it, right? The links between these questions and how that produces a really wholesome space. Yeah.
So that's one thing. And so it's very important that also my clients are open to this type of process. Because that's the first step to create really a conscious environment. If you don't take the time to think, why you're doing this and what you're looking for, and then it's a wrong start. Then after all of this session is done, I take time to really get to know the land and the house. So I usually start, I usually do this in the same time. So it's a 2-3 hours process where I do, first of all, I take some measurements with the Feng Shui compass. So the Feng Shui compass to determine the main facing directions and all the degrees which are needed to then tailor.
So for the audience members who don't know what a feng shui compass is it like, is it something, it's something you carry with you?
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's like
it
a,
has
it's
the
a
directions.
compass. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a big square. Now at the moment, I'm in my husband's office because there is a good light here.
Okay.
So I don't have my tools
Sure.
to pick up.
So in some of your photos, I think you're holding them.
Yes, yeah. If you
shared.
look at Instagram
Yeah.
or my website, you will see the compass. It's a beautiful, like it's a squared, it's literally like a compass with a lot of rings. And that gives the directions and to then enable me to really understand each sector, what's the energy pattern or energy flow or the energy quality of that area and how it relates to the residents, to each of the family member.
Okay.
So this is how then we determine who sleeps where, who does what where, working spaces, kitchen, and all of the areas.
And are you looking at also their birth dates, like their astrology a little bit or a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, well, not in too much detail,
Okay.
because I'm not an astrology expert. But just some basic things that you need to know for when you relate Feng Shui with the people and the energy of the house and the energy of the residents. So that basically means that I'm just walking around the house, in front of it, in the outside, inside, measuring different areas that then, and this is, yeah, that's one thing. And then on the same day, I do basically what I call like a land energy assessment to assess the quality of the land. And for that, I use the technique of dowsing. So I simply sit, I walk around and then I sit. Every time is different. I don't really have a process. Like I use pendulums.
Yeah.
And I just feel what's the quality of the land, what does the land want, what does the land needs, how can I, through my work, connect the people with the land and the building in a way that is really respectful and positive for everyone, as much as possible. If there's any geopathic stress point in the land, which are areas of the earth where there is a stress, in the same way we have a stress in our body, there can be a stress in the earth because of some man-made pipes, because of some minerals combined with water, combined with specific energy running on these grids. Even so, it's this type of work, and whatever it's found, then it's also plugged into the project in a way.
Amazing.
And then in the same day, I do the electromagnetic fields inspection. This is a more contemporary science aspect. So these are meters that can detect the invisible man-made frequencies coming from outdoor phone towers, electrical and magnetic coming from, I don't know, wiring errors or any current running nearby the area, if there is power lines. And that just, it helps me to determine what's the level of man-made electromagnetic fields.
Right.
To then be able to work with it and minimize it, either shield it or design it, design the house in a way that we remove them. So so that's another step. And then I also do, in this type of projects, I do check also for indoor air quality to see if there is something. I do also visually check if there is any moisture inside the walls, if there is mold, if the levels of humidity are okay. If they're not, what's the problem? Is it, I don't know, the AC, or is it because something was never cleaned? So it's a lot of like really observation and studies in the first days when the project starts. So once I have all this information that I collect in the house or in the site, on the land, then I put them together in a report, which gives me structure on, you know, what I found, and then how I can overlay things so that everything comes together in a very integrated way, with the land, with the health of the house, with everything, with the residents. So this is the, and if you want now, we can maybe open this
I'm going to
photo.
share here.
We can take up the that image of the house. Yeah, the photo, this one, yeah.
I'm just gonna do if we do the view, zoom out, slideshow, enter full screen. Do you want to see this one first?
Yeah, that's fine. We can just look at this. So this is the house which is existing. So that's the type of work that I've done here. And this is a house that will be completely renovated.
Okay.
So it will be basically extended by 200 square meters up and down. So we're taking it, and the thing that this house was bought 17 years ago, and the family has been living there for on and off for this period. And the house like feels really heavy somehow. I don't know. It's very there's a lot of issues when it comes to moisture as well. So there's a lot of toxins inside. And the client called me because she's been told by her doctor to that she has to talk to someone like me because she's having some, because the doctor told her you need to have your house checked before we can actually do any treatment, because you have high levels of a certain type of toxins in your blood. It means since you're not eating too much bad food and your life is quite healthy, it means there is something in your house. And
environmental,
and that's where we found, for example, a lot of mold in the false ceilings. So in Dubai, because there is AC ducts everywhere because of the, we need them because of the weather.
You mean the air conditioning?
Yeah, the air conditioning.
Yeah, because it's so hot, right?
Yeah. So there is not really split units. It's ducts that run inside the ceilings. So you have to create a false ceiling to hide these ducts. And because of the humidity, there is a lot of
trapped moisture.
Yeah. And then it becomes mold. So people are not aware of this. Some people are, but most are not. So they were not aware. So that was one issue. And also the house is quite dark because it's an older house. The windows are small. There's not much light. So they want to expand it and, make it better. And this house has a beautiful land. The energy is very high. And I think because then I figured that my client does, she's a meditation teacher.
Yeah.
She is 6 years old or something, and she's been doing this for so long. So she's every day she's meditating inside the house with people and alone. So I think the land has kind of become so.
You think it's also been energized through her work?
Yes, I think so.
That's beautiful. Yeah, of course. There's also our impact, right? When we're conscious.
Yeah, it's a very nice land. Very good. But yeah, the house needs some improvement. And then if you want to show the other diagram, is just to show like.
Can you see this diagram now?
Yeah.
When I share like this? Okay, good.
Yes. And this is just the ground floor. So before deciding on any extension or what we're going to do, we're basically analyzing the energy flow. So these numbers in Feng Shui correspond to different energy patterns.
Okay.
Each sector, like there's north, south, and so on. It has a certain energy and it relates to the people in a different way. So based on this, then we decide, okay, how do we extend to keep a balanced flow, of this house or of these energies that are there? What do we extend, what we reduce, and that's also depending on the client's desires and what they want to improve in their life. And as an example, on the first floor, I told from this analysis, just one thing that came up is that the east sector, it's not a great sector for sleeping.
Okay.
It can make people restless, not sleeping well. It's a bit.
Is this a general thing? That
No,
the east
no.
sector? Oh, okay. You were
No.
noticing that particularly in this situation.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
not. Okay, yeah.
Because with Feng Shui, it's all about the context. There is not
Okay.
like a specific rules that you should not sleep in the east.
Fantastic.
It depends on the map, on the chart, and what's around the house, and a lot of things.
Got it.
But yeah, and then yeah, eventually the daughter is sleeping there. Yeah, she wants to change room. She's not sleeping well.
She's restless or okay.
Yeah, and she's even found some strange dead birds under her bed. Some weird things happened.
Okay.
So it's really like the subtle things by reading this chart and understanding what do we do to improve the house and how to modify it. So hopefully next time we speak, we'll have the 3D models ready. So there will be the before and after and how the flow has changed.
Okay,
So this is a project that we started right before the summer, and then it went on hold because of the summer holidays. The client didn't have the time, and we just started now again in September.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So it's one of the very dear, like it's a very nice project, very nice family. I mean, all my projects, I have to say, are like I'm very lucky. They're all I can't complain about anything.
Well, of course, I mean, people who are interested in your integrative design process, I mean, can only, be one step further or more conscious and caring, right, about how energy impacts them, or at least open to it, right? Valentina, is there anything else you'd like to share before I stop the screen share?
No, I think it's just it's enough just to explain the process. I think it's good. Yeah.
And if any of the audience members have any questions about the particulars of her process here, we'll have the chance at the end of the talk to dive deeper into it. Yeah. I love that there's this mapping, this grid work process that you use to identify these different energetic zones of the home.
I do the same on the land actually, but it's a different, on the land is more like lines of energy that do not relate to Feng Shui, but then somehow they integrate with the house and with everything. And
when you're working, I mean, there's so many layers there, Valentina. I mean, it's so key what you're bringing to the architecture practice. It's so key especially the first step, right? Before you renovate your house, before you start building a project, before, like, everyone needs to come to people like you, practitioners like you, so that you lay the grounds for a smooth project planning process, right? And construction project in the future, or in the next steps. You talk about the land as well, and reading the lines, the energy lines. You also talked about dowsing. How do you like, how does the energy of the land, what I call the spirit of the land, influence your work? Can you touch a bit more on that? Why is it important, just taking like from a big picture perspective, developers these days are just plopping the same kind of project on very different parts of the world, different regions. Why is it
Yeah.
important to be looking at the land in that, in more detail?
Well, yeah, for me, I mean, I always thought about how we as humans, when we reproduce, generally we have, other humans come out of us.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I mean, yeah, of course. That's the, but
Yeah.
then so because I always associate, the earth to the human body and of course to the nature, then, I always thought that when we build something as architects, we should build something that comes from the earth. In the same way nature comes from the earth, literally out, and like our babies come out of
So
our
beautiful.
bodies.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, it's just simple logic. If you put it like, I mean, it's just almost mathematic. Like we should build something that is born from the earth. So from a materiality perspective, so ideally using the natural materials that we have available to build the energy of the earth. So what is, the earth, that piece of land, asking for? Was there like a spirit of the land? What's been happening on the land? Is the land happy? Is it not happy? And honestly, I don't have like every land I visit, it's always different.
Yeah.
And I don't have like a process, or I do 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the type of work that I don't have because I'm quite organized and structured in my work.
Yeah.
But when it comes to assessing the land, I need to feel it really. I don't have that.
You use your intuition, right?
Yeah. And so sometimes even happens that the land, wants something like I don't know, in a specific location, because there is a stress area on the other side that is not good to build on and to extend that energy into the house.
Right.
So that's why it's really important for me, this part, because it's the first step into creating that connection. And in the same way we listen to our mothers as we grow up.
That's so beautiful.
I thought like, in the same way we as architects and the buildings that we create need to really listen to the earth, to the wisdom that is in nature that we don't know. Maybe we know unconsciously, but consciously we don't realize often, that everything that we need is there, and we just need to grow a building like a tree grows, out of the earth. So that's why this process for me, it's important. It's just, I mean,
I love it, Valentina. Like we listen to our mothers, right? That we're architects. Imagine architects all over the world listening to our mother earth, and allowing the building to grow out of her wisdom, grow out of her body, grow, right? It's so beautiful. I just love the way you put that. Really moving, actually, very touching for me. It's so beautiful. And what I love also about your this integration that you're bringing, Valentina, it also sounds like you really bring the methodology, the science, the practical, the step-by-step, which is more the masculine energy, and you bridge it with, I don't know, I just feel what I feel, and I'm on the land and I intuit what she is saying to me, and you bring the feminine, which I think is so important, and I think is lacking in architecture, right? That it's still very much, and it's changing with you and so many of the guest speakers in this series. but you're bringing in the, yeah, like the feeling, the intuition, the mystery.
Yeah, and that part is, it's even not possible for me to explain it. And when I try to explain it in words, it loses its value somehow, because I think some things cannot be told with our words.
Yeah.
So I'm, it's I actually just had a call recently with a client in Portugal that is having a lot of issues with his land, and he's trying to build a house and it's just not happening, like millions of obstacles, like unbelievable. And so he called me if I can do like a check his land, if there is something wrong in the land, like, because he heard from someone, but he never knew anything about this. And he's a man, and he was trying to, like, ask him like valid questions, like, okay, how do you do this? How do you know it works? What is the process?
Right. They want the proof. I've encountered that a lot. Yeah. Like what is this energy stuff? Yeah.
They want, and I tried my best to explain it in a way that, but at the end, I told them, look, if you feel this is something that you should do, don't think about it too much and try to make sense of it. Just do it, but you have to be sure. If you're not sure and there is something that is making you think, oh, I'm not sure because maybe I don't understand it, or then just don't do it. Because if you're not on board with it, sometimes the work doesn't work well.
Absolutely. It really is important that the client and the owner is on board, right? Even if they don't know.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Just that they're open. Yes,
they need to be open to it. And that's what I said at the end. And, but I can't explain it in words that, I mean, he understood a lot, but there's a limit to.
There's only a certain amount. And everyone has a choice, and it's not about trying to impose any kind of way, or everyone needs to know about spirituality and energy. It's not about that. It's like, let's explore what's possible. Oh, these are amazing stories, Valentina, and I can just see how through the projects you're working on, and you're starting young with this, I don't know exactly how old you are, but I think you have a lot of years still left to go. That's my intuition. That's my intuition. And so imagine this ripple effect that you're creating, just by these gems of projects that you're working on, and how that's going to feed and nourish this earth, this new way, more conscious, more loving way of working with the land. You're also teaching now, right? At a university. This is huge. Your students are so lucky to have you. How is that going?
I'm very happy, because so I always wanted to teach at some point, but I thought in my mind, oh, I will teach when I'm 56 years old.
Right, when I have more under my belt, right?
And then this opportunity came to me before the summer, and I thought, okay, that's interesting, because they were looking for professors, and they wanted they were looking for someone with a different approach. So I started, and I'm on a part-time basis, of course, because I have my practice.
You've got to lead your business. Of course.
But it's really nice. And I think if we can teach some of these at university, I think that's where you can really create, help, shaping future architects and designers that will be a bit more like conscious thinking, I'm in a university, and there are limits to what I can, but even like, small things of, well, not really small things, but, integrating all the work on, ingredients of interior products, for example, because I'm
Right,
teaching in
like
the interior
ecological
department.
materials,
Yeah,
natural materials. Yeah.
natural, and why, and explaining why they're better and why the others are not as good, to give case studies. There's a lot,
Yeah.
to talk about. And yeah, it's really, really nice, because I really, my aim is really um, just to help people or architects or anyone to really reconnect with nature and start building in a more natural way. And that's all I want. So this part at the university, I think it's important because it also helps me to do that and add value maybe to what the students are learning as well,
Fantastic.
in the different perspective than the usual.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it, Valentina. Again, they just, the more young designers and architects you can influence, I think the better. And they must be so happy to have you. And I personally think that they're very lucky to have you
Thank
as a
you.
teacher. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. It's a nice balance too, right? From
Yeah.
being on the office and then stepping into the university. I think it kind of is a refreshing environment as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually nice. I mean, because I do so many different things in my practice, there is no week that is the same anyway. So now I've just added a new activity.
Right, a new mixture. Yeah, a new color to the whole
Yeah,
mix.
definitely.
I
So
love
now
it.
it's really, yeah, full on.
It's full on. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's so great. I love it. And I'm so excited to see how this current project you're working on evolves and all the other ones that you are working on. How can people get in touch with you now before we open up the bonus Q&A session?
So there is a website, which is energyandspace.org. And then the Instagram account is energy.and.space.
Okay.
So
Can
energy and space. Yeah, that one. Oh,
Can everyone see the chat? We just had some tech issues and I just want to make sure that the chat is enabled. Christy, can you share chat? I think you can actually. I think Christy can. Okay. Okay. Christy, I think you sent that directly to me. So maybe you want to send it to the whole audience as well. And also Valentina's Instagram as well. So everyone, as you see these links coming in, make sure you copy and paste them, because when we close the webinar, you won't be able to access the link. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, we'll wait. I think there might be a bit of a delay with my assistant. So let's open
I
up.
will send you my account, and then I don't know if they can see, but maybe you can share it. I don't know.
Let me just share with everyone. It might be disabled right now, everyone. Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, that one thing.
Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah, that's the Instagram. And you're very active on Instagram. So I think everybody.
I try. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like your main area of communication. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let's open up the Q&A session. Does anybody have any questions, particular questions about their home, any projects you're working on, any projects you're envisioning? Do you have any health issues or any sensitivities that you'd like to ask Valentina about? Sometimes there's a bit of a delay with the Q&A, so we can wait for everyone to ponder a bit and send their questions over. No questions? Hello. You've got her now. If you have any specific questions. Okay, we've got one here. From Tammy, I would love to know what feng shui school you went to, or recommends.
Yes. So I did study years ago with a feng shui master from Hong Kong. She, so her name is Susan. I don't remember, wait, the surname. Oh my gosh, it's been so many years.
I know it
But I
happens.
can, yeah, I can send it. But so she is a very good teacher. So she's actually Swiss German. But she went to China when she was 15 because she felt like since she was born, she was young, I mean, a child, she would draw like all these Chinese pictures. She really had a call for China. And so she went there when she was 15, and now she's Chinese, basically. She speaks the language fluently. She writes and she lives in
Amazing.
Hong Kong. So she's in Hong Kong. And I think now for sure she's probably does some online classes because of all these crazy restrictions. But if I can recommend something with Feng Shui, is important to at least do some in-person teaching, because how you work with the compass and how you know, with her, we would go around the city, look at buildings, and she would really explain live, which is very important. So if it's possible, it's better. But yeah, so that's where I studied years ago, and it took about, I think it was about 1 year and a half in total, because the way she does it is 3 different levels, and then depends how far you want to go. Because I'm an architect, for example, for me it made sense to basically do the whole thing until the end. So it took me 1 year and a half or 2 years, and it's split in levels because Feng Shui, it's really you know, an Eastern philosophy, metaphysical science, and it's so far from our way of thinking in the West of the world that it really takes time to grasp it and feel it, and then you have to practice a lot. So in between the classes you have to do like audits. So I used to go do audits for friends, family houses, just to keep learning. So yeah, she was, I think now there is a lot of more, because at the time I was struggling to find anyone. But I think now there is much more, but just be careful to choose something that is really, you know, into the real knowledge of the Chinese Feng Shui. I mean, of course, everyone is free to learn anything. But it's that's the one I practice. It's the traditional Chinese Feng Shui, not the new age or the one that was adjusted to be more digestible in the Western world.
Fantastic. Are you open to receiving a message from Tammy
Yeah, please,
she wants?
please,
Okay.
yes, please message me, so then I will send you her website as well. She has a website.
Fantastic.
So you can contact her.
Nice. Amazing. Ooh. Yeah. Next question from Sylvia. How do you suggest to clean a house from mold? We are thinking of building a sanctuary retreat center and would love to build a space that is mold free. So to ensure there is no possibility to let mold grow during the building process. Good question.
So, well, I have to ask a question before answering, because it depends on where is the location in the world.
Sylvia, can you share the location with Valentina so she can answer that question? It might be a bit of a delay here. So
Well,
let's go to
meanwhile, I
third.
can answer like while we wait for the location.
Oh, here we go. I was just not scrolling properly. Bulgaria.
Okay, so the climate is not too humid.
Yeah, it's
But
not like Bali or something,
no,
right? Or
but it
Singapore.
rains, so it could rain during the construction. And I'm not familiar what materials it's used in Bulgaria. Do you use a wood structure or concrete, or I don't know what would
Yeah.
be?
So she says 4 seasons. I'm familiar with Bulgaria because it's similar, it's close to Turkey, to
Mhm.
where I live. And Sylvia, please co-create with us here. You can answer her question as well. But there's wood construction, you know, vernacular, there's stone buildings. These are all vernacular. But the
Yeah,
new buildings are concrete, and these, you know, brick fill in between. It's
yeah.
not, you don't see as much for, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Sylvia, but you don't see as much like North American drywall, plywood, wood construction. I think they're using concrete and brick
Okay.
as a kind of base
Mhm.
material.
Yeah.
But please do
Yeah, so
share.
well, the first step for like to avoid mold in a new construction is definitely to isolate properly the foundations, especially if you build in concrete. Um, you need to make sure that it's completely insulated, because what happens is that the earth, the soil is very humid, and basically, if you build in concrete, the size of the molecule of water is the same size of the molecule of concrete. So with the capillary effect that comes from the ground up, water runs up concrete super fast. And that's where then you start getting the moisture, and then when you start getting the mold inside the house and inside the building. So the insulation is the most important thing. Even if there is a gap, little gap,
Right.
it can create
And
an
raised off more
yeah,
off of the ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah.
she, just to add to Sylvia's question, and then we'll move on to the others. She's adding though that she does want to build with natural materials, or they would like to.
Mhm.
And they're seeing dome houses with wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, wood is yeah. So with wood, the thing to be really careful of is if it rains during construction, then it can be really a problem, because wood absorbs immediately the water, obviously. And so it's not a big issue, but you just have to be careful. Then if it rains, you have to then dry the wood. And sometimes, if it rains on a Friday and there is no work on the weekend, in 2 days only, you can actually get mold already on wood. It's that quick. So you have to ensure that whoever is building the house, they're aware that if they see any black,
Okay.
they need to take the wood and throw it away. And you cannot clean it, especially if it's
It
in a wood
goes
structure.
inside. Yeah.
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 It's not really recommended to just clean it. You just have to take and remove it, and then you continue building. And just ensure that when, if the wood is wet, they cannot continue until they actually dry. There are machines to dry the wood. It's not difficult, but it's just a process that needs to be done. And then, so to avoid also for future, is, for example, there are so many strategies. It would depend on your design and everything, but any material that you use inside in the bathrooms, or even if you use some sort of false ceilings or anything needs to be waterproof inside. Because if it's not waterproof, if there is a leakage in the house because maybe one of the pipes burst or something, it will immediately create mold. But if you use waterproof materials, then obviously you don't get it. And also, if you use, I don't know what's the type of soil in Bulgaria, but I know in Europe, in many countries, there's a lot of clay. And
there is clay in Bulgaria. Yeah.
Okay, so clay paint, I don't know if they manufacture it there, but the natural clay paint is very good for mold prevention because it's hygroscopic. So it completely regulates the humidity that goes through the walls naturally. So that's the paint that I always recommend for people that have mold sensitivity. Even in Dubai, we have to import it from Europe. It's not very sustainable, but they don't make anything here.
Yeah.
So these are some things, but there is a lot of details in when you build from scratch when it comes to make sure that it's dry, that everything stays dry and it doesn't make mold.
Fantastic. Wow. Yeah, amazing. All these details we need to know about, huh, when we're building. Yeah. So from Kata, and Kata, hi. One of our amazing guest speakers, who is the creator of the Mind Space Method, who I interviewed on Wednesday. Thank you for joining, Kata. For some time now, I have a feeling that in the future, the walls of our buildings will be more light, more transparent in every sense for the different dimensions of life. Do you have any vision of natural materials that could serve as these walls?
So transparent walls, like, is it like a metaphorical or real?
I think Kata, you can answer, but we both. She means both, actually. Yeah,
Okay.
both. So that actually light is passing through and that they're thinner and
okay. Well, I think, I think the key of using natural materials is as much as possible to use what's available in the area that you're building something, that you're creating something. So any natural material that is there, and then you build these walls as an extension of the energy of the earth, automatically you will have that lightness, because it's all connected, and it's all coming together energetically. So maybe that's the feeling that you mentioned when it comes to lighter walls, where light goes through. When we create spaces that are natural, we live in frequencies that are natural. So it's as if we're living in nature. So when we are in nature and when we're in these natural frequencies, we all feel really good and content. There is this feeling of well-being and wholeness. So that's what a natural building does as well, in my opinion. So that's for me already automatic, like embedded. But when it comes to the transparency physically, materials, I don't know, because beside glass, which is not really, I don't know, because like for me, especially houses, they need to make us feel safe. And somehow I think it's really important that our walls are quite solid, from a materialistic perspective, let's say, or material perspective. So I'm not sure if I answered that. That's what I understood.
Yeah. No, I love the perspective. Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Yes. Yeah. And she said, yeah, not all glass is not so good. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. From Irma, and then we'll slowly wrap up. Hello, Irma. Hi. First, thanks for all the information. This is really super valuable. Oh, the Instagram account. I cannot find it. Did you see it in the chat? Can everyone, you know what? I'm going to answer. I will answer live.
Let me see if I gave you the code sometimes. Yeah, it's correct. Energy dot and dot space. That's correct. Yeah.
Can somebody okay, it is there. Okay, Kata is saying it's there. So if you check, Irma, if you check the chat button on the bottom right, on the bottom Zoom bar, you'll see a whole list of chats. You'll see Valentina's website.
Yeah, it's correct.
And you'll see her Instagram, which is at energy.and.space, or just go to energyandspace.org and you'll be able to find her website. If you still have issues connecting with her, send us an email and we'll send you her links. Okay. You'll also see them in the recordings. We add them to the recordings as well, under the recordings. Okay, we've got one more, but let's keep it short because we've got to wrap up. This is Andoni. Any tips for improving the bedroom? Thank you. Quick.
Yes, yes. Well, there's
I mean, I'm not putting a pressure on you when I say quick. I just meant that it was a nice brief question, so that's fine. We can extend a bit longer. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, for the bedroom, so from a special perspective, when you enter your bedroom, so you open the door, you should not have the bed in front of it. It should not be in alignment, because then you're directing energy towards the bed, which is not good when you sleep. So there shouldn't be an alignment between the bed and the door. And also when you lay down in bed, you should be able to see the door. So the door should not be behind you or just on your side. So that's just from a full perspective. This is generic, but it helps. And yeah, you should not put the bed against the big window, let's say, if it's very big. Because the glass, again, is that transparency, that very active energy that we don't want to sleep against. There is something very interesting in building biology that works for a lot of people. When we sleep with the head towards the north, so when you lay in bed, the north is right here, you're aligning with the north-south of the earth. So many people sleep better. Well, building biology says everyone should sleep better, because you are aligning with the electromagnetic fields of the earth, which is the natural magnetic fields. So if there is a way that it's not possible in every house, because if it's an existing house, it's not possible.
Yeah.
If there's a way you take a compass and check where's the north, maybe you can, if possible,
adjust it.
That sort of thing. And then of course, no technology in the bedroom, no screens,
unplug everything.
No appliances, no Wi-Fi router, nothing that is artificial, and no like strong flavors, definitely not candles. Candles.
Why do you say candles? Is it because of the petroleum in the candle, or is it like not even beeswax?
No, I mean, if it's a natural beeswax candle, it's fine.
Okay.
But generally, everything that makes when there is a combustion, so when there is a flame, there is always a production of formaldehyde and VOCs, even when the material of the candle is natural. So I use these candles and I love them, but I use them in my living areas every now and then. So you shouldn't have it in the bedroom because of this off-gassing of the combustion.
Right.
It's not good for sleeping. And then when it comes to like mattresses, also ideally, if you can avoid metal in the mattress, like a foam, natural, possibly latex or wool, depending where you are in the world as well, what's available. And of course the material of the sheets. So you just have to pay attention at all the elements of the room. These are the things that you can check just by yourself without I think it's enough, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And actually it's very helpful for me too, because I'm currently working on the construction of our own house. It's an existing concrete structure that my husband built, and I made some adjustments to it. And my son's room has some challenges. I want him to be facing more or less south. And I know that that doesn't have to be a hard rule, but then there's like this big glass double door going to like a small terrace. And then it's a challenging space. So it's it helped me as well, this question to
Okay, great.
to deepen in what's possible for that room. Yeah. Oh, well, Valentina, amazing. And thanks everybody. Such great questions. Such a fruitful session. There's so many tips and tools, and thank you for what you're doing for this planet, for all who are living on it, for the people who are interested in doing this work. And thank you for sharing this knowledge to your students too. Such an important task, I think. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Aisha, for doing this. It's really nice that you bring everyone together.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Really, it's
you.
my honor. Thank you. So everyone, before you go, tomorrow we have also another feng shui practitioner. She is an educator of feng shui and an architect. Her name is Angie Cho. She's based in New York. She works mainly on interiors, and she has books that she's going to talk about and give a ton of tips on how to create holistic spaces with feng shui. So don't miss it. It's going to be amazing. Grab your coffee or tea, or treat yourself Saturday morning or afternoon, no matter where you are in the world, and make sure you join us. It's going to be amazing. And again, please share what inspired you, your aha moments, your takeaways by responding to any of the emails that come to you from us. So yeah. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the day or evening or morning, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Valentina.
Thank you.
So
Bye.
nice
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.